Right, hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm the Grey Gardener, and this video is just going to explain a little bit about what I include in my quotes. Now, I do get asked from time to time what to include in a quote, and as I say, this video is just going to kind of, touch on that. So, first of all, and I've said this time and time again, on my quotes, I'm literally itemizing everything. Everything I'm going to do goes on that quote. And it's written, so generally speaking I'll send a text message or WhatsApp or something. I tend not to use emails unless I want something a bit longer, which happens from time to time. You might want to really go into depth and need to explain something. 95% of the time it's just a message, a properly constructed message though. It's not text speak or anything like that. I'll just list everything, so there's no grey areas. It's recorded, so at the end of the job it can't then come out and see the garden and then suddenly say, oh well, I thought you were going to do this, I thought you were going to do that. You can refer back to the quote and say, here we are, that's what was agreed at the time. But what do I put on it? So it's worth saying straight away as well, before I get into it, I will put some sort of template down in the description box as well if you want to use that, and obviously fill in the blanks. So yeah, so I'd start off by saying something along the lines of, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it was lovely to meet you, nice to see your garden. And then I go into kind of itemizing it, listing it. I will do X, Y, Z. I'll always put the option of so like if it's a general one, a smaller job, I'll say, and it'll be agreed, when I go to the garden to talk to them, I'll say, have you got a garden bin? So I'll say, I'll list everything that I'm going to do, waste to go in, garden bin. And I'll always probably put, just to cover me back, any waste taken away will be at an additional cost. If I know I'm definitely going to be taking the waste away, if it's a big garden clearance, for example, I'll always put that separate. And that just gives them the opportunity to say, well, I'll go ahead with the work, but it's okay, we'll deal with the waste. Rather than lumping it all into one big price and it being like X amount, quite expensive, or not expensive, but a large sum, and then maybe being slightly put off. I always feel it's better to include that separately, and 9 times out of 10 people will still want you to take the waste away, but it just gives an option, and I find that might be something your competitors might not be doing. I don't know. And if it's lawn cuts, I go into the whole thing of I do my lawn cuts once a fortnight. The price is per cut, not per month, because sometimes people do assume it's per month. I don't know why, so be clear on that. I'll say the lawn cutting goes up to late October, early November. I don't put an amount of visits on there. I know some people do. I kind of yeah, I don't personally, in case I go away on holiday and that's not pre-planned. I mean, not that I particularly go often or anything, like during the especially during the cutting season, but it just, I find it would be probably too restricting. So I say I'll come once a fortnight up until late October, early November, weather permitting rather. Obviously milder temperatures, you might need to go into November, so that's why I don't like putting an actual number on it. And yeah, just kind of leave it at that when it comes to your lawn mowing. I'll generally sort of say, if it's a one-off job, I'll say, if you wish to go ahead, I can come on this day. I'll also tend to put, this quote will be valid for X amount of weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. It depends on the job. Because, if you get to 2 months down the line and they come back to you and say, right, I want to go ahead, that job is going to be a hell of a lot harder. It's going to have grown a lot. So I tend to put a bit of a time frame on the quote, and that just covers your back, and it's better all round, really. But if they come back to us and say, well, we'll have a think and let you know, I will then say, okay, that's absolutely fine. but you know, it may not be that date. If they came back to us, you know, within a day or two, chances are it is going to be that date. And you know, it's important to communicate. And you know, as I say, I've never had a problem. People will probably include more detail, possibly. Sometimes, you know, I do mention that I'm fully insured as well. Um, yeah, it depends. It depends how much of a chat I've had with the customer on those sorts of things. You know, I might tell that to the customer, you know, in the meeting. You know, if you're meeting them in the garden, and it's always worth kind of having a good chat with them, because you're not only assessing the garden, you're also assessing the customer, which is just as important. And it's important to ask whether you're going to have full control over the garden, or if they still like to do bits and pieces. Yeah, just have a chat, ask them anything that you think might be relevant. I tend to tell them rather than in the quote, but if I don't see them, I'll put this in the quote. Something along the lines of, I use all my own gear. I don't need any access to the house. You don't need to be there. Some people might feel the need to be there, but I kind of let them know I can just crack on with it, essentially. And all this is worded properly. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much what I include. As I say, I'll put a template below just so you can have a little look at that and tweak it. You know, I'm not saying this is the right way or the only way to do things. This is what I do and it works for me. I like to keep it fairly sort of informal, you know, via text message. As I say, some people like to go the email route and put kind of logos on and make it all look super professional. As long as everything is detailed and you've got all your information on there. I won't put my bank details on there or anything. I will wait till I've got the go ahead, and then I'll also say sorry. Yeah, so I tell them my methods of payment. So it's cash or bank transfer or PayPal. So I'll put that on the quote as well if I don't, you know, tell them when I say them. And I'll let them know payment is also required as soon as possible. So yeah, I think that just about covers everything. Let us know if you include anything else. As I say, I've never had a problem with this. This is what works for me. I'm sure people will put more things on there or do things slightly differently. Again, this is just how I do it. So do let me know if you put anything extra, because I might pinch it off you. Yeah, we'll see. I'll have a read through the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.